Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our San Diego webinar. Today, our team of ServiceNow experts will be diving into the new ServiceNow update that was just released last Wednesday to the public. They'll cover San Diego's enhancements in the Now platform from UX, EX, IT, and customer workflow, and they'll even share some upgrade strategies for success. First, I want to thank everyone from joining us today from around the globe to learn about ServiceNow's latest release. I'm your moderator, Devin Clark. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager here at Acorio, and it's my sincere pleasure to introduce today's fantastic panel. They include Jesse Nocon, one of Acorio's solution architects. Jesse has both a technical and a business operations background. At Acorio, Jesse works hand in hand with our practice and thought leadership to create solutions to help our clients maximize the value of the ServiceNow platform. Jeremy Mandel is Acorio's UX practice lead. Jeremy is Acorio's resident expert in ServiceNow web design and development. He has been designing and developing web-based experiences for 20 years, specifically with ServiceNow for about 10 of those years. Tori Young is our HR practice lead. Tori is an experienced and intuitive leader in HR transformation, HR service delivery, and HR quality assurance. At Acorio, he's responsible for our ServiceNow HRSD practice, including best practices and enablement to create a consistent world-class experience for our clients. If this is your first webinar with us, you may be wondering who Acorio is and why we're armed to speak with you today. Acorio delivers real-world business outcomes and promises better experiences with the power of the ServiceNow platform, so your organization can be a leader in digital transformation. Acorio's sole focus is on ServiceNow, and as an NTT data company, we unite with a global team of innovators backed by the power of one of the top 10 services providers in the world. We were recently named ServiceNow's 2022 Customer Workflow Partner of the Year, and are a top partner in total ServiceNow certifications. And we were also named one of the best US consultancies by SPI. But if you really want to get to know us, then there's one simple string that brings us all together. We're passionate about our clients, the work that they're doing, and we consider it our mission to empower them to drive real outcomes throughout their ServiceNow journey. Before I pass the mic to Tori to kick us off, I want to remind everyone that we will be taking questions at the end of the webinar and throughout. So please feel free to write in your questions in the Bright Talk interface, and we'll try our best to answer them in real time or at the end of the session. So with that, I will let Tori take it from here.
Thanks, Devin. Well, before we dive into the agenda for today, I just want to take a moment to reflect on where the platform has come since the past few releases. Back when Quebec was released, we saw ServiceNow's Now mobile capabilities really catapult with new features like advanced AI text search capability and mobile UI rules to build rules that modify the mobile UI screens. We saw Now UI experience get an interface lift, and of course, a new application with business continuity management that provides business continuity solutions as businesses have been impacted during a crisis like COVID-19. And with the release of Rome just 6 months ago, we saw IT get updates across the entire gambit of products and applications, from change management, incident management, vendor management, cloud call center, and walk-up experience. And one of the biggest enhancements from Rome is the Employee Center, which enables you to provide a single unified portal for employees to find information, get help, and request the services that they need. But why we're here today, it's all about San Diego. And what we're going to be talking about is really a maturation of the past few releases. We'll see the advancements ServiceNow has made in the Employee Center specifically. Plus, we'll see UI updates like the Next Experience UI and further advancements in IT employee and customer workflows with advances in field service management, order guides, anonymous report center, and more. So it's really exciting to see where we are today with San Diego. Because of further innovation, we'll see ServiceNow building upon it in releases that we've seen in Quebec and Rome. So they're going to continue building on this. It's very exciting. All right. So with that, I'm going to transition over to Jesse to share some of the exciting improvements in customer
Yeah, and
management.
thank you, Tori, for that review of where we were in the past and where the platform has come to now. And we're starting out with customer service and specifically field service management enhancements because we think it's a really good microcosm and representation of how San Diego is going to be meaningful to anybody that's using the ServiceNow platform. So in some of the previous releases, right, in Rome, Quebec, other releases before that, there were some big new applications, big new tentpole features released. And San Diego isn't necessarily that kind of upgrade and that kind of release. What the focus of San Diego is on personas and ensuring that individual personas and individual work streams across an enterprise have meaningful experiences. And so field service management is a great microcosm of that. And with the screenshot here in the details, you can see that ServiceNow has upgraded the field services application, which was enhanced and announced in Rome, to really have a bespoke setup for folks like dispatchers or for folks who are out in the field and so that they're able to do their daily job not on a system that was built for another work stream and not on a system that had to be highly customized to make it meaningful for them, but something out of box that's meaningful, out of box that's upgradable, and out of box that's useful for them. And so, actually diving deep into field service management, multi-day task scheduling, right? This is about making sure your dispatchers can define their tasks, improve their calendar abilities, and then leveraging a new dispatcher workspace, navigate seamlessly across the different groups that are out in the field that they're supporting, and schedule work in a way that's meaningful for them, right? Whether that has to be prior to notifying technicians, while technicians are out on the field, or being able to communicate and coordinate with a technician in real time. And again, right, spoke about how San Diego release across the platform is about creating meaningful persona-based experiences. And with field service management, right, we just looked at the dispatcher view. But again, we want to make sure that those technicians who are actually out on the field at locations have a bespoke and meaningful experience for them as well. And so enhance and optimize mobile application to give them the information that is relevant, not display information that isn't meaningful to their day-to-day activities, and then ensuring that there's map views to help them coordinate and travel is something that has been done and is really valuable. And then finally, we have the improved insights with additional reporting and dashboards for the folks that are managing teams and ensuring that the field service processes and work streams as a whole are operating efficiently. Moving forward, right, coming out of CSM into our IT spaces. Um, in CSM, we just talked about creating meaningful persona-based experiences. The other side of the San Diego release, which I am really excited about, especially somebody who's spent a number of years developing on the platform, is some of those pain points that have been in the platform for a number of releases have been addressed. And the way I kind of like to think about it is ServiceNow has listened to their customers and really went out and did the effort and put in the work to make sure that what folks like ourselves who develop on the platform and like yourselves who work in the platform on a day-to-day basis, they've listened, they've heard, and they've put in a number of areas to help solve some of the pain points and issues. So Order Guide is a great example of that. In the past, folks were limited on how they could set up and how they could coordinate all the different items that were in an order guide. Essentially, there was one way to make one way to set it up and one way for them to execute. Now, leveraging the new UI and user experience that Jeremy's going to talk about soon in the platform, administrators and catalog process owners have the ability to create a sequential fulfillment, meaning that users of ServiceNow can actually designate which items should be fulfilled first. Can items be dependent on other items, and ensuring that records generated through catalog items and record producers will only be generated when the order guide fulfillment reaches the point where the record is processed. I know this has been a big pain point for a lot of our customers and a lot of developers, and it's exciting to see ServiceNow listening to their customers and putting in small but meaningful changes. In the IT space, previously, there was a product called IT Business Management. And one thing that ServiceNow realized is that IT business management is being leveraged by much more than IT organizations. And so with the San Diego release, there's been a renaming, a rebranding of IT business management to be more accurate to how it's being used by folks like yourself and by customers leveraging the platform. And it's now called Strategic Portfolio Management. And in addition to that name change, there's a new unified workspace. Again, hitting that same theme from customer service management, where there is a bespoke view for project managers and PMO leaders at enterprises to be able to manage multiple PMOs and to be able to manage multiple projects from the same unified workspace. And additionally, in the asset space, we have those same kind of ease of life and quality of life improvements, where there's expansion of license type, expansion of automation, and more support for activities related to asset management or that interact with asset management, like supporting IT offboarding and automated reclamation of assets when those kind of items occur. As we continue in talking about having meaningful, bespoke, persona-based experiences, that isn't just limited to our agents. That isn't just limited to the folks who are fulfilling and solving issues and doing their day-to-day job in ServiceNow. That's also related to our end users, our customers, and our employees. And procurement is a big way where that enhancements are coming, or enhancements are being brought with San Diego for the end user. In the past, it's been a little bit clunky and been a little bit unintuitive for folks to be able to come in and find the right assets they want, put together bundles that are of assets with consumables that are meaningful and usable and relatable to their job. And with the shopping hub support in ServiceNow, there's a whole new way for product and asset catalog to be run leveraging the Employee Center, whether in a mobile view or desktop view. In addition to that, there's out-of-box workflows to support vendor and procurement activities, whether that is procurement being run solely in ServiceNow or connecting with a third party or outside procurement system. And then additionally, there have been the foundations of asset management have been enhanced from a data perspective in order to make sure that the data related to procurement activities like financial data, contract data, license data for software has easier ways to visualize and connect to other areas of the platform and increase performance analytics visualizations so that customers who are leveraging procurement can make better, more informed decisions on how they want to run their company and how they are handling their asset spend. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Tori to talk a little bit about our employee experience improvements, specifically around our anonymous report center.
Thanks, Jesse. So new to HRSD is the Anonymous Report Center. And as we know, as HR professionals, an employee's ability to feel anonymous and to really have trust that their report is anonymous can be the difference between someone submitting um, a sensitive complaint or a misconduct case. So now with the anonymous report center, employees can submit those to an anonymous report center portal. They can use this anonymous report center to submit a complaint without disclosing their identity, receive updates on their complaint, and to communicate confidentially with investigators. From the employee center, employees are redirected to the anonymous reporting center, and from there they can create this anonymous complaint, and it can be activated as a standalone feature, or it can be combined with HR service delivery employee relations. You can use the completely automated public Turing CAPTCHA or Google reCAPTCHA v2 to verify a human is submitting the complaint. And then from the employee center, employees can choose to submit the complaint through the employee center or use the anonymous report center. And when using the ARC, the user is actually signed out of the employee center and directed to the anonymous reporting center. So it's actually, something that you'll definitely want to see and at some point and really experience it to understand how it works. But it's a great new feature and something that I'm very excited about for HRSD.
Tori, that's a really nice aspect of the ARC architecture, is that if you think about it from an employee's user experience, is they will immediately understand that they've been anonymized when they see that they've been logged out of the employee center. I think that's just a fantastic piece of the architecture, is that an employee will feel safe knowing that they've been logged out. They're no longer themselves. So that's kudos to ServiceNow for doing it that way.
Absolutely. I think, this is definitely key to employees building trust with the organization and HR. So with that, Jeremy, I'm going to hand it off to you to talk a little bit about UX upgrades.
Yeah, thank you, Tori, and thank you, Jesse and Devin. Okay, all right. So most of what I'm going to touch on today are Employee Center and Employee Center Pro advancements and enhancements. I'll touch on a few other things, such as the brand spanking new Next UI built on the Now UI framework. But to get things started, for any of you that have auditioned Employee Center and the Employee Center Pro features that came out as store releases with the Rome release about 6 months ago, you probably are already familiar with the unified taxonomy data model that was introduced with the Rome release of the Employee Center. And for most of us at Acorio, that data model is the most exciting aspect of this new way to deliver self-service experiences to your employees, in that it goes beyond knowledge base and service catalog categorization. And one thing that many of us at Acorio that have been designing and implementing employee centers since the release in September of last year is we're working with a customer, we're working with human resources, IT, and finance, for example. They're very excited about having an intent-based way for their employees to browse to topic areas, and then those employees seeing not just catalog items or knowledge-based articles, but both of those types of content, as well as quick links and videos and all kinds of things. And we came up against this right away with our customers. Is IT and HR agreed that the page that a topic, such as for IT, like say a desktop computing topic, that would of course have laptops and desktop computers, as well as really important knowledge-based articles, perhaps about how lease swaps happen and how to back up your bookmarks or what have you. And an HR topic, like for example, tuition reimbursement, that the page that an employee sees that content on should be relatively the same. The difference should be content, right? The where the content is important. It's just like when you if you still look at a newspaper, whether you're looking at section A, B, C, or D, the composition of where content is relatively the same, and it's the content itself that's different. But what we butted up against with our business stakeholders right away is hey, but IT wants to show planned maintenance for systems, and HR wants to show particular content that should only show up for HR topics. With the San Diego release, and it actually came out, I think, in the Q1 store release of Employee Center, but was not available until the San Diego release, is the ability to set a different page, a different service portal page at the topic level. And then in addition to that, have the ability to, and I'm moving my mouse, but you guys can't see it, to choose to cascade the use of a particular page for, say, a parent topic, like in this case, IT, to cascade that down to all of the IT subtopics. So we're working with a customer right now that went live with Employee Center pre-San Diego, and this was the first thing on their list, is IT needs to add, just to reduce it to widgets, add some widgets to their top level IT topic page to add some curated knowledge base articles for really specific things. These are things that were on the homepage of their IT portal that has since been sunset. So this is really exciting for us and our customers. Bulk tagging is another one. I'm not going to read through all of this, but up until the San Diego release, to connect knowledge base articles and service catalog items to a topic meant that a person needed to create all of those manually. With the San Diego release, there are some minor user interface enhancements and some very cool scheduled jobs that allow for, and we've seen that this is something that existing customers that have one or more portals and have mature knowledge bases and mature service catalogs. And by mature, I mean they have lots of knowledge base articles and catalog items. And they have a pretty solid taxonomy of categorization for the knowledge bases and service catalogs. Is what they wanted initially to do was, yes, set up topics to have that great navigation experience. But they wanted like a shortcut to populating those topics and then refine that over time. So with the introduction of bulk tagging from a topic record within the content taxonomy data model, there's a couple of new related links at the bottom. And one of them is a quick way to associate service catalog items to a topic by picking the service catalog categories that you want to include. So you can see here in this example for hardware, a taxonomy administrator or manager would be able to quickly add, say, all the catalog items in the desktop and laptop and accessories, for example, service catalog categories. And then using this same process, do the same thing for the knowledge base articles. So we think this is going to be extremely powerful for existing ServiceNow customers that have one or more portals and mature knowledge bases and service catalogs to get to go live faster for their employee centers.
And Jeremy, not only to get to go live faster, right, but I think the bulk tagging and the custom topics and the different areas that you've already touched upon around Employee Center and around user experience really back up that theme that San Diego is about, creating more meaningful, bespoke, persona-based experiences. And this just allows people to do that, not only the ways that ServiceNow has envisioned with out-of-box setups, but allows for more customizations that are meaningful, but also manageable.
Exactly. Like for any of you out there that have multiple service portals, you probably know very well that it's difficult to know how painful it is for an employee to bounce between an IT portal and an HR portal. So these two features that I've talked about already are beneficial. I think it makes it easier for, let's just say, a department of end user services to get the buy-in from many service delivery organizations to do away with a multi-ServiceNow portal landscape and go all in on an employee center and get everybody collaborating. And then that first new feature I showed you, the ability to have different topic pages for different topics in your taxonomy, gives some of that, to use Jesse's terminology, some manageable department-specific personalization without creating such a disconnected experience, web experience for the employees. So, and then the bulk tagging, I mean, that, if you think about it, that's like a service and content owner, system administrator, taxonomy manager, admin, persona specific enhancement. And we really, everyone that you've heard from on the call today is a ServiceNow practitioner. We're not just here talking about this stuff. Right after this, we're probably going into client meetings. And so when we see features like this and like sequential fulfillment, which we know benefits sequential order guide fulfillment, we know ultimately benefits the employee, because the things that need to get fulfilled first get fulfilled first. We know it benefits the agents, but it also, with that awesome new user interface that's being used for order guide sequential fulfillment, we know that system administrators and developers are also getting better user interfaces to do their work. And in many cases, no code user interfaces, which is great. So thanks for bringing that up, Jesse. Okay, so I've condensed a few other Employee Center Pro specific enhancements and advancements into this single slide. For anyone that's unaware, Employee Center Pro adds functionality to Employee Center. All Rome and San Diego customers, are entitled to Employee Center. Employee Center Pro features come with product suites like, or workflows like HR Service Delivery Pro and Enterprise. And just so you all know, if you're not HRSD Pro or Enterprise customers today, and you're interested in some of these Employee Center Pro only features, ServiceNow does make available Employee Center Pro as a standalone product as well, offered through the ServiceNow store, which is great. This is as of the Rome release and the introduction of EC Pro, there are a lot of features that were already there, like content publishing and content automation, which have been renamed and reimagined and made even better, that were only available for HR Service Delivery customers. So that's really fantastic. So I'll cruise through a few of these new features. For any of you that are familiar with content delivery product and content automation, content delivery is now content publishing, and content automation is now content experiences. There is a new styled content type called video, which does exactly what we always hoped it would do. Is it allows you to embed into, for example, this banner here in Employee Center Pro, the content experiences widget, embed rich content with embedded YouTube and Vimeo videos. For content creators, which would be content admins and content managers, they now have the ability to launch a full portal preview of any content, and that means they can see it before they schedule it or publish it to a particular widget on a particular page or to a particular topic. That was a bit arduous before. I know on many projects, even since the London release where content delivery debuted, we would say, for example, create a homepage for the portal, and then we would right after everything was stable and after user acceptance testing, we would clone that page, and it would kind of be a staging page where on production, which is where all this content should be maintained and created, just like knowledge articles, so that the content admins and content managers could schedule content that they're working on to this staging page that they only have access to. And so this does away with that. So again, a better and faster experience for content creators. There's also some new content types that came out with the San Diego release, and there are some system properties that now allow you to have more granular control over designating full ownership for particular topics in the content taxonomy. So that's really great. Okay. Unified employee profile. I'm also checking the clock here, Devin. I know you'll ping me if I start to go a little long. The unified employee profile, it's a reimagined way of showing an employee their own information on the Employee Center, as well as the now mobile user interface. It does introduce a new data model. There's a new table to store additional information that is not sys user information. It's not HR profile information. And just so everyone's aware, the unified employee profile feature does not depend upon you having HR service delivery. Does not depend on your company having the HR profile table. And what this means is that all of those widgets and as well as AI search that can use machine learning to display recommended knowledge base articles and catalog items, and also tune the search results that come back by adopting and implementing unified employee profile and populating as many of those fields in the new data model for employee profile. Your instance is now able to use machine learning for those widgets, whereas pre San Diego, and if you're on San Diego already and you're not using unified employee profile, you're getting recommendations based on aggregate usage of knowledge base articles or browsing and usage of service catalog items. So that's really cool. Now we recognize, as well as ServiceNow recognizes, that a lot of the information, and I'll go ahead and cruise over to what the unified employee profile looks like in an example employee center. You can see it's a much more modern display of an employee's information, including an updated My Team widget. And Acorio, NTT Data, and ServiceNow recognize that most often companies have like a human capital management system or an intranet, and that is the authoritative source for that information and viewing it, and of course making changes to it as well. But I encourage you to, at the very least on a development instance, evaluate the unified employee profile, because as I mentioned before, the more information that you can put into ServiceNow from the authoritative sources, aggregating it into ServiceNow, the better the search results, the better the recommended knowledge base articles and service catalog items are going to be, because ServiceNow knows more about the person that's logged in than your entire employee population. Okay, cool. And as I mentioned before, Unified Employee Profile is also available in the Now mobile user interface. Of course, it looks different because it's a native mobile application, but it's also available there as well. And oh, I forgot to mention that there are, just like today, there's like a bio field and the ability for an employee to upload a picture or change the picture that may have come over from your Active Directory or Workday or whatever system is populating that field in your ServiceNow instance. Is those fields are modifiable by an employee, and then as well as these others, preferred name and pronoun. Of course, those could be locked down using access controls because you may be storing pronouns and nicknames and preferred names in your human capital management system. That's hopefully feeding into ServiceNow. And on mobile, those fields are not modifiable. Okay, cruising into AI search. I'm just going to cover just some of the highlights. AI search debuted in the Quebec release, and it quickly matured on the Rome release. If you're not familiar with AI search, it is the first new search engine and search experience on the ServiceNow platform since the original Zing search and search indexing engine. It is much more of a natural language and a natural language query. It does very cool things that we may take for granted when we're searching all across the internet, like partial words and typo handling and spelling mistakes and all kinds of stuff like that. One thing that was not available in AI search in Quebec and Rome was the ability to make the task table and child tables from task like incident, HR case, and customer service case indexed. And the reason for that is ServiceNow wanted to make sure that they were able to handle the performance impact that could happen for a company that sets AI search indexing loose on 20 million task records. So with the San Diego release, you can now index the task table, specific tables. Of course, you don't have to start at the task table level. We think that this is going to be most helpful for our customer service management customers who are moving off of platforms like Salesforce, or they're adopting AI search after having a ServiceNow customer or consumer service portal where they were where their customers and consumers were able to search for customer service cases. With that, ServiceNow, I would say this comes in with the great power, comes great responsibility. For indexing of tables like, for example, CMDB, there are a few other tables that are now able to be indexed like task. You are required to pick a retention policy for those index records, and it's based on the last time the record was updated. So you can set somewhere between 6 months and 3 years for each indexed search source. And as I mentioned before, it's setting a retention policy is required. Now, all you're setting the retention policy on is the indexed record, not the record itself in its actual table. So that's very cool. Also, stop word synonyms and result improvement rules are now available for all languages that are active on your ServiceNow instance. Multi-word phrase stop words, very cool. Global fallback to match articles in the instance locale's language is also really great. And then better superior support for the Japanese search experience, which was not that great for Quebec and Rome. So very, very exciting. We hope that you've all been activating AI search on a sub-production instance and checking it out. Not only is it many times faster, but it is using indexes instead of searching the tables outright, which is what Zing has been doing for years. So AI search is like a dedicated virtual appliance using dedicated virtual index tables. So it's very cool, the modern way to do it. All right, so I could have done this one first, but I wanted you all to stay as long as possible. But the next UI, the current ServiceNow platform user interface is called UI 16 because it debuted in 2016. The next UI, built on the Now UI framework using web components and all kinds of other cool things, is a faster single pane view. That means that your employees that do work in UI 16 and then also need to work in one or more workspaces, they can now do all that. They can work in their workspaces and in the platform UI right in the next UI. So as Jesse mentioned, more attention on bespoke user interfaces. This is our ultimate user interface that system administrators, developers, all kinds of different people inside of a platform team and inside of a service delivery organization work teams can work in. It is opt-in. You don't have to use it right away, although I suspect at some point it'll go the way of UI 11 and other things. It provides more real estate for whatever type of person is using it. It has a much better navigation menu system. I still call it the application navigator, but it's a huge advancement in application navigation within ServiceNow. The navigation menus are pinnable, or you can keep them as popovers. We see this continued investment in the Now UI framework, and we're very happy that Now UI framework is being used to create an entirely new, smooth, modern, bigger and faster user interface for all types of people that will be using ServiceNow. Okay, so I'm going to hand it back to Jesse and Tori, I believe.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy.
You're welcome.
So, as Devin talked about at the beginning of the webinar today, we are going to not only talk about what's in San Diego, but how to plan your upgrade cycle, and how to make sure that you can take the upgrade process from San Diego and apply it to future upgrades to have an even more successful shortened upgrade period. So our upgrade cycle really works in two ways now. We have our major releases, right? Our San Diegos, our Tokyos, our Utah, and we have our quarterly store releases. I'm going to talk about the quarterly store. I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about the major named releases first, and then I'll pass it over to Jeremy to talk about those quarterly store releases. And so those major releases that come out twice a year, what we recommend doing first is actually not looking to upgrade right away, but taking some time to read through documentation. The documentation for a major release typically comes out a month or so online, comes out online a month or so before the actual release is available. And going through that docs and looking at what's changed, and ServiceNow will break that out from an application by application standpoint. So taking a look at what's changed and reading through those details can really help you plan an upgrade, because you may find out about features and functionality that you weren't aware of that can be absolutely critical to your business and could drive an accelerated upgrade process. And you may also be able to find out about features and functionality that are going to be really important and meaningful to you down the road. And you can start the planning process even earlier. Once you've gone through the documentation, we recommend that you actually plan out a step-by-step upgrade process. Typically, that starts with identifying all of the stakeholders that you're going to need to make aware of the upgrade, and then ensuring that those stakeholders are aligned for whatever kind of testing and training that they're going to need to do as a part of that upgrade cycle. So, for example, you've decided that you want to upgrade by the end of July. In starting early, right at this point in April, you may want to start communicating and coordinating with those stakeholders to let them know, hey, at the end of April, we're going to look to upgrade, or sorry, the end of April or May, we're going to look to upgrade our sub-production environments. After we upgrade our sub-production environments, our ServiceNow admin team is going to have actions that they need to do to take a look at those skipped logs, to take a look at the upgrade monitor, and to find areas where defects could have come up because of the upgrade, or enhancements are needed because of the upgrade. Once your ServiceNow admin team completes their part, you want to coordinate those additional stakeholders to come in and run regression testing on the parts of the platform that you already have set up, where you want to ensure that your critical processes are functioning as desired in that upgraded sub-production environment. In order to ensure that when you do upgrade in production, there's as little impact to your business as possible. Some of the ways that and then it's also great to get feedback from those stakeholders and from your ServiceNow admin team throughout this, because you can take the lessons that you've learned from a San Diego upgrade and then apply them to a Tokyo upgrade. And some of those lessons learned that we found with our clients and we found with our customers is looking to put together and leverage the automated testing framework from within ServiceNow. And so that automated testing framework can be leveraged for repeatable tests, meaning that if there's something that in every upgrade you're testing the same 12 data points in your incident process, for example, it may be worthwhile to put the effort in to configure those 12 data points that you're testing in incident as a part of your automated testing framework, so that at the next upgrade cycle and the cycle after that, and so on and so forth, you no longer have to assign an individual to test those. You can let the system test those for you. Once you've gone through and completed all of those testing, you're confident that any issues that have come up that have been found in the sub-production environment have been fixed, right? You can look to promote up to a higher level environment. So for some folks, they're going to be promoting directly from their development environment up to their production environment. But for others, there may be a testing or a stage environment. And you can use that testing and a staging environment as a dry run for your production upgrade. So you take all those areas that you fixed, you take the update sets and data sets that are that have been found and created as a part of going through the upgrade process in the lowest sub-production environment, and you would move it into the staging and testing environment. Act like it's a go live, go through and have different groups coordinated to run very quick scripted tests in that mid-tier environment, and be able to measure and gauge the impact that the upgrade had. If any additional defects are found or if any additional enhancements are needed, you can go ahead and create those. And then when you do move to production at the designated date, you have confidence that there's going to be as little of an impact to the business as possible. Finally, on the train, communicate, and improve each time, when you go through and read the documentation at the very beginning, and when your ServiceNow admin team is going through and identifying those areas where you're turning on new features or you're enhancing and adding new features to an already existing process, you can coordinate with your training team and your internal organizational change management groups to be able to create additional training sessions, to be able to communicate new features and functionality that's coming, and to be able to coordinate sessions with your employees so that they can take advantage of those new features as soon as they're available. So I've gone ahead and spoke through the top circle here, right? Your improve each time, repeatable plan, training, communicate, and testing strategy. But ServiceNow is moving not entirely away from these big tentpole upgrades, version upgrades, but partially away from it in order to allow faster and more iterative releases and enhancements to be adopted by their customers. And I'll pass it over to Jeremy to talk about the quarterly store releases.
Thanks, Jesse. It was really exciting in the beginning of September when the Employee Center and Employee Workflow product teams invited Tori and I and a few others from Acorio in to get a sneak peek at this thing called Employee Center. And one of the first things they covered with us is that they were moving the artist formerly known as Employee Service Center to the ServiceNow store in a couple of new application scopes, and then taking the Human Resources Service Portal scope and making it the Employee Center application scope. And it had us scratching our heads a little bit. And then the next thing they told us was, because we're committed to quarterly enhancement releases. That's enhancements and advancements. So since the September release, there have been multiple quarterly Employee Center and Employee Center Pro related releases. A couple of them were entirely new features that were available on Roam. The last quarterly release for the Employee Center products included some San Diego things that were clearly called out as, hey, we're doing these things. They're going to be there, but you'll have to upgrade to San Diego to get those. So one of the reasons that we're really excited is when we're working on long-term projects and we know what's coming, it helps us reinforce less customization. Oh yes, there's that feature that you hoped for and expected or anticipated. It's really close, or it's exactly what you're looking for, and guess what? It's coming next quarter. So that's fantastic for us as partners and practitioners. For entire platform teams, like your entire platform teams, this means you can do more frequent functionality enhancement upgrades, which should make business owners in your companies much happier. And it also takes some of the weight off of those family releases. Maybe one of those family releases a year has little to no new functionality introduced. And instead you could focus on working in some of these quarterly release enhancements into your pre-existing release management windows that you may have. I mean, we work with customers that have, once a month, twice a month, or some of them go once a week. And so some of these could be as fluid as promoting up a few new catalog items. You wouldn't wait until a ServiceNow family release to promote up 10 new catalog items. you'd work that into your release management strategy. So our hope at Acorio and NTT Data is that we see more parts of the ServiceNow platform where it makes sense to have more rapid enhancements, and not be so bound to the twice-a-year family releases. Move their applications into the ServiceNow store so that they can accomplish that. Maybe I'll just keep going here. I jotted down a couple of things about, where the ServiceNow platform is going, and this is the section that's entirely subjective. I jotted down a few just before the webinar. Is for the Tokyo and Utah releases, myself and my team would like to see more investment in the Now UI framework via the UI Builder integrated development environment, for developing production-ready self-service portals. We are confident that these data model things like content taxonomy that create a no-code way of organizing the content in an employee and customer-centric way will still be able to be used by portals that are not built using Angular, using Service Portal. And so we really look forward to that. I think ServiceNow is really close. There are parts, if you are really excited about AI search, as soon as you activate, have AI search provisioned for your instances, and you'll see some new fields on your portal records, and you can opt in. I'm trying to answer a question in the Q&A too, but I'll maybe save that for a couple minutes from now. But you'll see that the AI search that's embedded into your service portal that you designate as being using AI search, it's actually using the Now UI framework embedded into your service portal. So we're looking forward to full native production ready self-service portals that we can design and configure in UI Builder. And then one other thing is we're also hoping that there's more integration of the awesome employee-centered data model and other employee-centered features into some of the portals that haven't gotten much attention the past few years, like your customer service management and consumer service portals. Okay, that's it for me on that.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. I've got a few, or really one big area that I'm really excited for moving forward in Tokyo, Utah, and I've really seen it start with San Diego. For a lot of organizations, the entry point to ServiceNow is IT, and I think that makes sense, right? The product and the platform, while built to service the enterprise, was able to take advantage of processes and ways of working that IT is already used to, like ITIL. I think with San Diego, and especially moving forward in Tokyo and Utah, the entry place for ServiceNow could be IT, but it also could be a number of other areas of an enterprise. And as ServiceNow moves to be a truly enterprise management platform, they're creating so many more meaningful experiences in areas that aren't necessarily IT, right? Like customer service management and field service management, HR, legal, and the ability to create your own custom applications that can support a shared services model. And then being able to take all of those bespoke work streams in different areas of an enterprise and present them to our employees and our end users as one unified place and one unified experience. That is what has me really excited about the platform. And that ourselves as a ServiceNow partner and ServiceNow themselves are not thinking of this as IT only, and are really thinking of this as how can we support an enterprise. That's what has me the most excited.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that, Jeremy and Jesse, and everyone for joining us as we've had our experts speak to different areas of the San Diego upgrade. And in summary, we talked about enhancements in customer experience, IT workflow, and employee experience and user experience. So we kind of hit this from different dimensions. And with that, I think we're going to move forward to a little bit of Q&A.
Thanks, Tori. And I know, Jeremy, you kind of already answered one, but maybe let's just repeat it for the crowd. Do you have to have Next Experience enabled or a specific plugin enabled to use the AI search?
Yeah, I barely answered that, so I'll give you the full answer, which won't take very long. No, AI search does not have a dependency on the Next UI. AI search did come out with Quebec. It should be active on your instance as long as you're on Rome, Quebec, Rome, or San Diego, which you should be on one of those three at this point. You do have to, there's a very simple process to have AI search provisioned. It's a request process, and you can do it right on your instance. If you're logged in as a system administrator, just search in the application navigator for AI space search, and there's a link to a page. You click one button. I've seen it take 48 hours, but it typically takes less than 24 hours. And what ServiceNow is doing is they're provisioning a node, some type of virtual appliance. I would think much like a Google search virtual appliance to be used for your instances. And then from there, there's actually a fantastic guided setup for AI search. And some of the last few things are optional, but AI search does not have a dependency on Next UI, and it is something that should be there, but it's not provisioned. I think provision might be the right word for it.
Perfect. And then going back to a little bit at the beginning when we were discussing HR, is ARC available only to those who are using Employee Center?
So what I'll say is if you, so all new HRSD customers will have Anonymous Report Center. I would say if you've had licensing already with ServiceNow for quite some time, it'd probably be good to just double check with your rep to make sure that it's available to you. And ARC can be activated as a standalone or combined with HR Service Delivery Employee Relations.
Perfect. Thank you, Tori. And then we have a few more questions here. One, if I haven't implemented HR Agent Workspace yet, should we do it now or wait until after San Diego?
Yeah, I can go ahead and answer that one. Our recommendation would be to wait and upgrade to San Diego first before implementing that HR workspace. And that's because, right, with those quality of life enhancements and with those changes and upgrades to that HR agent workspace, it could be a difficult organizational change management activity and training and enablement of your HR agents to learn how to use the HR agent one way or the HR workspace one way. Then you upgrade to San Diego and they have to learn to use it another way after an upgrade. So our recommendation would be to upgrade to San Diego, then go ahead and implement the HR agent workspace so that you're only having to train and enable your agents to get used to working one way.
Thanks, Jesse. And then we have another one coming in. How can we think about the migration to AI search for our portal? Jeremy, I think that's probably best for you.
Yeah, for sure. And then I do see that a couple of other things have come in too. So one of the great things about AI search is that it's not just a search engine. ServiceNow, now that there are two distinct search experiences, has elevated search to an experience on all user interfaces. And so, for example, if you're a customer that has customer service management portal and one or more employee-facing portals, you can selectively opt in to use AI search on one or more of those, as well as now mobile. So you can decide, do I want to keep using Zing for a little bit longer for this user interface or this portal, and not for others, and go to AI search quicker. So you can opt into AI search. So that's the strategy I recommend. If you just have one employee-facing portal, I know that you'll see by activating it on a sub-production instance and seeing how it performs. How, for example, if there's any system administrators on the call and you've gotten like a content owner that's like, I need my knowledge base article to show up as the third result when somebody types in general benefits US. it's a struggle, and you have to put the bulk, if not all the responsibility, on those content owners and say, well, if you want to promote your results, you have to use good search engine optimization. You have to have good composition and the right frequency of words and phrases, and use the meta keywords field. AI search doesn't even use the meta keywords field because it's an organic search engine. It gets better for the people that are using it in whatever user interface they're using it in. It gets better with use. I search for general benefits US. I click on the third article. Over time, that article becomes the featured article, like the first piece of content that shows up when somebody searches for a phrase like that. And it takes a lot of responsibility off of especially your knowledge base authors and contributors. Okay, I want to hit just one of these really quick. So regarding can IT have Next UI and HR? Can IT have Next UI but HR not use it, or is it platform level? It does. It is platform level. But I have seen some articles flying around in the community, although I haven't dug into them, about how to pilot it with certain teams. So I'm confident that there is a way to do it. My recommendation is that is go all in, right? The distinction, like if it was, can HR use the platform UI for doing HR cases and HR tasking, and IT continue to use Agent Workspace, which they may have adopted, and HR not go to Agent Workspace? We know that to be true, right? But I would say for the platform user interface that's used, I recommend that it be a whole organization thing. And then two more that'll be really quick. Unified employee profile, is that only with Employee Center Pro? Is it available with the general service portal? I do think that there's a dependency on Employee Center, although it would be really easy for me to check that and see. But it's a page, it's a service portal page, and we all are hopefully comfortable knowing that Employee Center pages exist independent. So because everyone's entitled to Employee Center, and Unified Employee Profile does not have a dependency on Employee Center Pro, when you activate that plugin or store app, you will get you'll get those pages and those widgets. So I don't see any reason why you couldn't use it in your /SP pre-existing portal. Any features not available on premise? AI search is AI search available on premise? AI search is available on premise, but what's not available on premise is, I think, external search, meaning being able to use the AI search spoke to index content from, say, SharePoint. But Next UI, Employee Center Pro, Agent Workspaces, those are all available on premise instances. All right, I went too long. I'm so sorry.
You're so okay, Jeremy. Thank you for answering those questions. So I want to thank everyone for joining us this Thursday afternoon to dive into the San Diego release. Thank you, Jeremy, Jesse, and Tori, for sharing your expertise. If you have any other questions that we weren't able to get to today, please reach out to marketing@acorio.com and check out acorio.com for more blogs on the ServiceNow San Diego release. You'll also find in the attachment section in this Bright Talk window, we have our ServiceNow San Diego ebook. So please feel free to click and download that. And thank you again for joining us. And we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks all.